Well, hello, and welcome to Reasons with Eston Styles. I know it's been quite some time, but I wanted to hop on here real quick, have a little quick conversation because I got somewhere to be. I got like maybe 15, 20 minutes. So, what I did want to talk about was the pandemic, uh, the civil unrest, I guess that's what you could call it, and what some folks said call to action. So what I did want to know is, what are you guys doing during the pandemic? How many of you guys are social distancing? Are you following the CDC guidelines? I know there are a lot of places that have opened up. I'm down here in Georgia. I do not live in Atlanta, but I'm like 20 miles away. I know there's a lot of folks are not wearing masks. They're not using gloves. To me, they've been a little bit unsafe. And the reason I said it is just because the cities opened up is only for economic reasons. It's not that there's no longer a pandemic. Coronavirus is still here. It's going strong. The numbers are going back up. So what I don't understand is, why do people have a challenge doing the simplest thing to ensure their safety in the name of you're violating my rights? And I look at it, and I'm going to keep it brief, is that you're violating my right to be safe and in a healthy condition because you don't want to do something to protect another person. It's not always going to be about you. It's not always going to be about what's easy, what makes you comfortable. It amazes me how people feel like they feel so violated in a country that has violated other people's rights for hundreds of years. That is just asinine and simple to me. So the reason I said that is that coronavirus isn't going anywhere, and it's probably going to be around for quite some time. And if we don't take the precautions, we're going to be back where we started when they started shutting the country down and closing everything off. So to me, the responsible thing to do would be do your social distancing, wear your mask, wear your gloves, use your hand sanitizer. You want to be so free, and then when you get sick, you want some sympathy, and that's just a contradiction to me. That just makes absolutely no sense. So do the simple things. It is very, very easy. I'm so tired of people talking about the amendments and the rights and all this foolery. So that to me is just answer that. So I want to move on past that. I say, I know what I'm doing. If you within 6 feet of me and you ain't got no mask on, you're getting a look. If the look don't work, you're gonna get told about yourself. So you just need to bug up before you get bumped up. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this George Floyd thing is so crazy to me, and it's so asinine to me how some people do not understand what's really going on, and how some people tend to think that the people's responses are ridiculous. I was looking at a video the other day where the young lady was explaining the rioting and the looting and all that good stuff. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, like I said, protesters are going to be protesters, looters are going to be looters, rioters are going to be rioters. But when she broke it down to how whenever we as people of color get ahead some kind of way, people come in and destroy it when they said that's what they want us as the people to have. And I said, well, I never saw it broken down like that. It's like, so you enslaved people for 400 years, or 200 years. Then you treat them like trash. You don't give them anything, and you want them to start over. They get a little something, like she's talking about rosewood, then you burn it down. So that was the big thing to me. It's like every time they take a step forward, you decide that, oh, they got just a little too much like what we have, or more than what they should have, and you tear it up. But then you complain that they're not progressing. You can't stack the blocks against a person, keep raising the bar. I always tell friends of mine when we engage in disagreements, I'm like, you can't keep changing the rules, because then there's always going to be an unfair advantage, and I'm never going to get to a point where we have resolution. And so she broke that thing down. I ain't gonna even make like I'm gonna post a video because I don't even know how to do that. But she said, in essence, you can't keep tearing down the people when they get ahead and then get mad because they're getting ahead, because in actuality, you don't feel like they should be ahead anyway. So she ended her thing in saying that you should be lucky that they want equality versus revenge. And I thought that was a powerful statement because I would think that if somebody kept messing with me for years and years and years and years, that I'm going to need a little bit of revenge. So the fact that it's just an equality thing, I think is really good. What I don't understand is how people pretend like it just started. The only difference is it was recorded and it was in your face. These types of things have been happening for years, and it's not always going to be the murder. It's the subtle things that's getting passed over for promotions for job, redlining folks in particular neighborhoods in different cities, denying loans. There's a whole slew of things that go on, not being able to get into colleges. And then when they do things to create the equality, people tend to get upset. When they did the, oh God, what's that? I don't want to say it was affirmative action. It was a thing they did with the colleges where they set aside these particular slots for people of color. And people were like, that's unfair and this, that, and the other. And I have some white friends and we have very good conversation. And I said, you don't understand what people say when they say privilege. So I had to break it down. I said, your privilege is very simple. When people talk about white privilege versus black folks and all this other stuff, it's simple. You and me do the same crime. Me and you have the same background. Me and you are the same age. We're in the same city. We're in the same state. We're in the same county. We're before the same judge. I'm black, you're white. Same crime. All things equal. There's nothing in my background and your background that's different. The only thing that separates us is our color. You get 2 months, I get 20 years. You're white. That's what we say is privilege. You got that simply because of privilege. And I had a conversation with an associate of mine, and we were talking about the Colin Kaepernick thing. I said, you don't understand because you get to pass. I said, you get to pass. And so she was saying that she didn't think the cop did it because the guy was black and she would have to know more information. And I'm like, if people are telling you that you're killing somebody, the person is saying they can't breathe, you have them restrained, you can remove your knee. The only thing is you didn't want to, and why? So she went on and on and on and on. And then I posted on Facebook, and folks in my comments was like, she's walking in her white fragility and da 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 da. Now, mind you, she's Puerto Rican. So me and her having this conversation, she calls me. I say, you do realize that people think you're white. And so she did a little pause, and then she was like, well, I get it because my kids are black. No, you don't get it because you get to walk in privilege. You're white, your boyfriend's white. No one knows that you are Puerto Rican. You could be black. No one would know because you don't look it. And you're not going around saying, hey, I'm a black person. Blah, blah, blah. No, you're not doing that. So you don't understand it. So as I conclude the conversation, my thing to her was, you have to better prepare your children for what they may, or 9 times out of 10, going to experience just being a black male or a black person. So we concluded that conversation, and I see a lot of posts and people like, they're so concerned about the Target and the stuff that folks are tearing up. My thing is, people do what they feel they need to do to get your attention. Because if you had listened when people told you calmly the challenges that we were having as a people, and you had went to do some sort of resolution, then you wouldn't be where you are now. And that's the thing I don't think people get. And so when people post stuff and people say things, especially my friends, because I have a diverse group of friends on my Facebook page, and I'm like, I don't have time to check everybody for everything. It's just like I ain't about that life. I said, you don't get it, and it's unfortunate. You don't get what's happening. You don't get how systematic it is, and you don't get how it affects people because you're unaffected. And privilege isn't about money. Privilege is a status thing. It's not about money. And there are privileges within the black community that folks don't get either. Like, we can use the N-word and nobody else better. I think that's ridiculous too, but hey, it is what it is. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and so then people were saying, that's why we need to get our own and have our own and all this good stuff. Which brings me to the last part. As I said, this is going to be a pretty short video, and it is how are you going to do that? Because let me tell you something. You have to have resources to start a business, sustain a business, and build a business. People have a mindset that, oops, I'm going to go do this little thing and I'm going to have a business. That's not how that works. It doesn't work like that. It's, as I tell people, credit is king and cash is his best friend. The reason I said it is that when you want to start a business, you're going to need a business loan. The bank doesn't care if you have $30 million in the bank. They look at your credit 9 times out of 10 because only a fool would use their money. It's called other people's money. You want a building, you get a loan, you pay that loan back from your revenue from your business. You don't take your money out and buy a business. No, you use other people's money. That's how they do it. That's why I always say that credit is king and cash is his best friend. You want to cut on your utilities, they pull your credit. Anything you want to do, they're going to pull your credit. So that's why credit is critical, even if you want to build an ability to be self-sustaining and not dependent on any other race. So when I see people say, well, we need to get our own, what's your plan to do that? The first thing I always ask folks is, what's your credit score? What kind of credit card do you have? And I'm not a proponent of being heavily in debt with credit, but I am a proponent of being positioned, meaning that if I need to get something, I'm in a position that I can walk into a bank, walk out with a loan with a competitive interest rate. You get a competitive interest rate when you understand the market. See, people can't get over on you because you're black and charge you more than what they should unless you don't understand the market. Unless you don't understand the power of your credit. An 800 credit score doesn't mean you get a 25% interest rate on a credit card and a 13% interest rate on a loan. What that means is that you are not educating yourself in how to communicate effectively with people and these conversations to make sure you get what's due to you because you know what you should. You can't always play the race card. You have to play the smart card. The smart card will always supersede, or as we like to say, trump the race card. You know, I'm smarter than you. I'm educated. I have the information. That will win most arguments. Even if a person is trying to use race as a background way to try to do something, against you and not assist you. So I say, folks, what's your credit score? What are you doing to improve your credit scores? More importantly, what's your game plan? People, and then they hit you with these things. When so-and-so started his business and he went bankrupt 7 times, that doesn't have to be you. He went bankrupt for lack of knowledge. Time number 7, he had them 6 opportunities of knowledge to know what to do. So I always ask folks, what's your game plan? What are you going to do differently? What's going to set you apart? How are you going to position yourself? And that's with anything. I always ask people, I want to buy a house. You can't fix your credit when you want to do something. You can't save your money up when you want to do something. You can't do anything. You should be planning these things. You should be building up a reservoir of information and resources so that when you want to go buy your house, your money's there, your credit is there, your income verification is there. If you've had credit challenges, your rebuilding is there, your justification letters are done. You should have all these things already available because everybody's going to go through some things as I have myself, but you use that knowledge and that information so that you can write the ticket. I always tell people, they're like, oh yeah, I'm rebuilding my credit. And I've done it several times, at least 3, maybe 2 or more, let's go with that. And I am a credit expert. I have disputed. I'm a bankruptcy expert. Been there, done that. I know how to maneuver, manipulate my money, do what I need to do so that I don't fall into certain traps and certain things. And so I said it to say, as you all know, or you may not know, but you will know now, I do work in what I don't believe in credit repair. I do what I like to call credit restoration and lifestyle change. I am a certified master life coach, which is great. Gives me some insight on how to communicate with people. I am a realtor, so I understand the market and real estate and things of that nature, including commercial and residential. I was a loan officer, so I have a diverse understanding of background of lending. I was a settlement agent, so I understand the other side of when you're actually purchasing. I worked in contracts. I'm a master contract negotiator. So what I did is I decided I would compile all of these things to provide you service, because what people do with businesses is they say, oh yeah, I do credit repair, sign up, it's $89 a month, because nothing's free. It's not. But what happens is then they drop you off. You get no more coaching on how not to have it again. That's what I do differently, is that I want you guys to, let's fix your credit, but let's get you in a position of not having to always be fixing your credit. What's your goal? Are you trying to save some money? Are you trying to buy a house? Do you want some financial security? Do you want to delve in some stocks? Do you want to diversify? Do you want to set yourself up for retirement? Those are the things I focus on while people are going through the program. That's what's a little different. And it's no extra charge. It's not like you pay for the credit restoration. Then I charge you all these fees to talk to you about how to, no, that's part of, I decided that when I went into this, that would be part of my contribution is you're already paying. So what I'm going to do is get you to restructure your mind, your thought process, and then help you build your finances so that you can do the things you want to do. So that you can have the money that you want to have and that you're not going broke trying to have it. So that you can make sound decisions that make sense. So what happens is with me is that you get the credit repair stuff, which works itself. But then you get the coaching and the guidance and the communication to help you make better decisions and then financially restructure yourself so that you stay in a position of liquidity. You always have money, you always have resources, and that you're not going insolvent because, oh man, I'm going down the same track again. So that's what I like to do. So what I did is I said, what do I call this thing? I said, I don't know. And then I said, let's talk about it. Because what I want to do is find out, what are you doing? How'd you get here? You're here. It's like, how'd you get the phone? Well, you looked it up online, you went into the store, it was on sale, you traded enough. How did your credit get bad? How did your bank account consistently get overdrawn? Why do you keep getting evicted? Why is it that you can never rent more than a room? What's the mindset behind what's fueling what's going on? So I said to myself, let's talk about it. And then while we're having the credit addressed over here, we're going to be addressing the issues over here. And when the two get together, you're that person who says, nope, I got the money for those red bottoms, but I ain't buying those today. But I can buy those 2 months from now because I know how to save and put things in place to do it. Oh, while I'm going to go buy my house, oh, guess what? The interest rate is 3.4 and I'm getting 3.4. I'm not paying 6%. So I want you to be able to have the information necessary to make those kind of sound decisions. So like I said before, if you want to build your own wealth, you have to be in a position to take advantage of the resources that are available for doing that. I have done plenty of business coaching. I have assisted several companies in going from basically almost going under to being on a very good side of the black. So I do that too. I've done business coaching. I've done a little bit of life coaching. With the business coaching, it becomes a little bit involved for the people because people think they know what they want to do with their business. And a lot of times you have folks approaching with all these things just like this. It's like, hey, sign up to be a credit agent. Okay, great. Then what? Hey, great. I'm selling Monet shampoo, which I think is a great product. But then what? Then they give you we got all these twos in the back door. I think that's what is that what they call it? The back door? The back room. And all it is you send out this stuff to folks that don't apply to them. And for me, it gets annoying. So I like to do customization and specialization, which means that the conversation I have with you is about you particularly and not some little pre-written script that I just sent you. I'm not about that. I'm about conversation and interaction. So what I'm going to say is that let's talk about it. Like I said, this one was a little different to me because with all the uprising, and I think it's great. I think there's going to be a movement. I think that we should position ourselves, but what you have to do is be equipped to position. Talk is cheap is free. Positioning requires resources. A lack of resources means you stay in the position you're in, regardless of what the circumstances dictates. Houses being available, me having down payment, and me having bad credit means houses are not available. Great idea. No resources, no ability to get financial backing means bad idea. If you can't do anything with it because you're not in the position to, it's just like not having it. Thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. I promise I'll be bringing back more. My hair is looking kind of moisturized today. Look at this string. Ain't that shrinkage ridiculous? That hair is growing. So we're going to talk about it. Okay. Thank you very much. You all have a good day. I thought that smile was going to be cute, but it wasn't.